from hers then.
Okay, okay.
Can I say it in chat?
All right. I'm ready.
Okay, Jalen, are you ready?
I am not ready. No, I'm not.
Oh my God, hurry up. Okay. Come on, Daniel. Miss Daniel's taking too long. Wait. Come, Daniel.
Ready?
Okay.
I don't have my singing voice. How am I supposed to sing?
Jalen, come on, let's go. Okay.
I want to
1,
walk.
2, 3.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to you.
you.
Happy birthday.
Oh my God.
Happy birthday, dear Miss Lopez. Happy birthday to you. Yay!
Olivia was out of order. I had to stop.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I'm glad that I used my computer that time. Thank you, guys. I feel old. You guys can officially call me old.
Why do you feel old? Why do you feel old? Old is
You should
old.
look at my dad. He is old. My dad is the older version of me.
Oh no. Okay, well, I'm not as old as your dad, but I do feel old in my own way. Let's see if my computer wants to load this.
Okay, I can meeting now.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Thank you all.
Hi,
that was
I'm
a very
Daniel.
nice way to start class. How's everyone doing? How are your weekends?
I got a fresh cut.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. No more twists?
No, I just left the top.
Mm.
I'm getting dressed.
Oh, cool. Weekend was too short. I agree. It always is. Anyone do anything fun? Anything different? No? Sad. I met a puppy. My friend got a puppy, and I finally got to meet the puppy, so that was nice.
You should have kept it.
No, I have a cat already. I don't need another animal. That's already too much. All right, y'all. So today I figured it would be a good idea to just do a big kind of review today and work on some problems, some review problems, things like that, as we get closer and closer to the test. And on that topic, I actually wanted to kind of update what's going on, because I think that you guys can take your test on Tuesday rather than Wednesday, because there's actually not that much more to do until then. You guys pretty much learned, we've covered everything that's going to be on the test. So starting tomorrow, I basically just want to do a lot of reviewing. And I think that you guys will be more than ready by Tuesday rather than Wednesday. So I'd rather not do it on Wednesday. So the date will be March 2nd.
Miss, we have a biology test that day.
On the 2nd?
Yeah.
How would you feel about
That's
doing it the
garbage.
1st? I wanted to give you Monday so that we could review on Monday, but
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, let's do a vote. We're gonna vote, and you can vote privately. Just send it privately in the chat. March 1st, which is Monday. So, but remember, it's a 2-day test. So Monday and Tuesday versus Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay,
Is there an option for Thursday and Friday?
No, because like I said, we just don't, like, there will be not, if I push it until Thursday, we will literally not be doing anything the rest of the week, because you guys already learned everything that's on the test. So I don't want to push it back too far, because then we run out of time for the next topic. So I want to just do it as early as possible. So let me know in the chat whether you prefer Monday and Tuesday or Tuesday and Wednesday. Let me know in the chat. I want everybody to vote so that it can be as democratic as possible. Right now I got 2 votes for Tuesday, Wednesday. 3 votes for Tuesday, Wednesday. If I get 1 more vote, that wins. Okay, that wins. All right, Tuesday and Wednesday it is. So I know I'm sorry that you guys have 2 tests at the same time. That happens a lot just because you take 1 test each month and a lot of times they fall on the same day. So I really apologize, but remember that you guys have already learned everything that's on it. So from here till then, we're just reviewing and you should feel pretty good about it by Tuesday. With all that review, I expect that you guys will feel just fine. And hopefully, even though you've got 2 tests, hopefully that'll be okay. So let's go ahead and get started. I have 2 questions here for our bell ringer because they're kind of similar. First one, triangle QRS is shown below. Which of the following statements are true? Select all that apply. So let's just go ahead and start talking about it. What do you guys think? What can I select as part of the answers? Which of these are true? B, good. S and Q are complementary. What's supplementary? What does supplementary mean? Now, so in geometry, supplementary means that it adds up to 180. But P and Q aren't going to add up to 180, they're going to add up to 90. So that's complementary. Okay, so that one's out. And we know that S is not necessarily going to be equal to Q. Not always. What's the only time where S and Q would be equal to each other? Think about it. What would they measure? If they were equal to each other, what would both of them have to be equal to?
45.
Exactly. That only works if they're both 45 degrees, because 45 plus 45 is 90. So the only way for them to be equal to each other is if both of them are 45. And if both of them are 45, what type of triangle would that be? Let me just draw it out. Good, Perla. You got it. If both of these are 45 degrees, then you've got an isosceles triangle. So that would mean that the 2 sides have to be equal as well. And in this case, the 2 sides are not equal to each other. So we already know it's not isosceles, so it can't be true. Does that make sense? Does anyone want me to explain that a different way? Okay. All right, let's keep going. D. Is D true or false? Cosine of Q equals sine of R. What would be the cosine of Q? What would be the cosine of Q? The sine of S. Good. That would be a true statement. But R, when we're talking about right triangles, the right angle, so R, you can't really get the sine of R because what does sine stand for? Someone remind me, what does sine stand for? Opposite over hypotenuse, right? So let's say that the hypotenuse is X. The sine of R, what would be the opposite of R? The hypotenuse. So if I'm doing opposite over hypotenuse, I would just get X over X. And what's X over X? Just 1. Okay, so you can't really do sine, cosine, and tangent of a 90-degree angle. It doesn't really work the same way. We only ever do it to the other 2 angles, the smaller ones. So, okay, so we know that the sine of Q, or the cosine of Q is equal to the sine of S. So that means F is one of my answer choices. Are any of those remaining answer choices correct? The cosine of Q equal to the cosine of S, or the sine of S equal to the sine of Q? No, right. So remember that the way that it works is that for supplementary angles, not supplement, for complementary angles, if the two angles are complementary, then the sine of one is the cosine of the other, and it works both ways. And that works with any two complementary angles. So do I have any questions on that property, on the rule for complementary angles? Cool. So with that in mind, let's take a look at number 2. Number 2 says that the sine of 2x plus 5 is equal to the cosine of 5x plus 20. And it wants you to find the value of x. So if the sine of 2x plus 5 is equal to the cosine of 5x plus 20, what's true about those two angles? They are complementary. So like, let's just say I call this one A and I call this one B. Okay, A is 2x plus 5, B is 5x plus 20. I know that A plus B have to add up to what? They have to add up to 90 because they're complementary angles. So with that in mind, now I can go ahead and I can plug in those values. So I can say, okay, that means 2x plus 5 and 5x plus 20 have to add up to 90 degrees because the sine of one of them is equal to the cosine of the other. Because of that, we know that they have to add up to 90. Makes sense, right? Any questions on that idea? Like any questions on why I'm able to put this equation together? Well, now I've got my little equation. I can use algebra to solve it. So go ahead and try on your own, solve that equation. Okay, Perla got C. Let's go ahead and do it
I
together.
got C also.
You got C also. Okay, Jalen got C. Anybody else got C? Tyrone got C. Awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is pretty self-explanatory. 7x plus 25 is 90. Take away 25. I get 7x equals 65. Divide by 7. We got x equals 65 over 7. So once you set up that equation, it's pretty easy. That's just something that I know for a fact. There's a very similar question on the test next week. I've already seen the test. So just, you know, if you see something like this, you already know. Set them equal to 90, solve, and you're done. Any questions on number 1 or number 2? Awesome. All right, quick little review. I know we kind of just talked about this, but it's always worth remembering in case, you know, over the weekend we forgot things. What's the what do you call it? The mnemonic device that we have for this. What's that called? How do I remember? A mnemonic device is like a way to remember something. So like PEMDAS is a mnemonic device. So what's the mnemonic device for this? Good, SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. So anytime, if you're not really sure, always, go back to SOHCAHTOA, go back to the basics. That's going to be the easiest way to just remember which one is which. Okay, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Ka is cosine adjacent over hypotenuse. And then TOA, tangent, opposite over adjacent. Do I have any remaining questions about just these three ratios? Anything at all? I do not mind explaining it as long as we, I want to make sure everybody here understands. Going once, going twice. Okay. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and do a kind of a similar one to the one we just did. I want everybody to try this one on your own. I'm not going to give anything away. Go ahead and try this problem out. Okay, I know Perlite just shared her answer, but I was going to do a poll. So go ahead and enter it into the poll. Okay, everybody should be putting their answer in the poll. I have 5 students who have put their answer in, so I'm waiting on 3 more. Okay, I have 6 students.
You're waiting on 2 more.
Waiting on 2 more.
Waiting on 10 more.
Anybody last
Wait,
second?
that's not off.
Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
7,
5,
6.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Happy New Year.
Happy, everybody failed. Everybody failed this question. Why?
So that means it must be 13.
Everybody failed. Why did everybody fail? I want you guys to figure it out for yourself.
Because uh, 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 I don't know. No.
Okay, well, think about it. I'm going to give everyone a couple minutes. Every single person chose,
Majority votes.
every single
Everyone
person.
thinks the smartest people in the group are always going to get the answer right, so they pick the same answer that the smart people did.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay, so maybe everyone was following the
Perla
leader.
announced her answer in the chat.
But why is 11 incorrect? Everybody chose it. Why is that wrong?
I don't know.
Okay, so let's think about it. Go back to the beginning. Try it again. Okay, Perla maybe thinks she sees the mistake. Maybe. It's not 13. No. Let's go back to the beginning. Tell me what to do. I'm solving. I need to figure this out. What do I do? Tell me what I got to do to solve this problem. Let's just start from the beginning and see if we can figure out the error. Okay, so first we make them equal to 90, okay? You have to put them together, make them equal to 90. So 4x plus 3x plus 13 is equal to 90. Okay, now what? Minus 13. Okay, so that's 4x plus 3x equals what? Equals 77?
Wait, what?
77? Okay, now what?
Oh wait, the chat was blocking the equation that you were writing down. I didn't understand what you were doing until I got the chat.
Oh, oops. Okay. So here we are. We add, we get 7, we divide, we get 11. Okay. X equals 11. What's X? What is X? What does X represent?
Oh, so you have to plug it back in. After you plug it back in, you plug it back in.
Oh, that's what okay. It's not asking me what
So
does X
X is the position of it, but we're not looking for the position. We're looking for the angle.
We're looking for the degrees, not the X.
No, I would never start.
Okay, so yeah, we got to plug it all back in. So if I plug it into here, 11 times 4 is 44. So that's 44 degrees. If I plug it into here, what do I get? 33 plus 13, 46. So which of those is the smaller angle? 44. C was the correct answer. Because y'all didn't read.
I
Y'all
didn't
did
pick an
not
answer
read.
yet.
You have to read. In the bell ringer, it just said, what is the value of X? That's the value of X, but that's not the value of the angle measurements. Okay, so we gotta be very careful. Gotta just make sure you're reading things carefully, make sure you know what you're looking for. So everybody got the right value for X, but if you don't plug it in, you're not gonna get it. Do I have any questions on this one? Okay, Jalen, are you having issues finishing with the amount of time I'm giving you? What's going on? Somewhat? Okay, so just let me know. You can always ask for more time if you need it. Okay, any other questions, anything else on this problem? On how to do it or anything like that? No questions, okay. I believe we did this one on Friday. believe we did this one on Friday, but I kind of want to do it again because it's just a simple one, but it's easy, but it doesn't have a picture. So it's one of those questions that you just got to make sure you're drawing it out to just make sure you're doing things correctly. So here's my right triangle. Okay, I'm going to call this A, B, and C. The hypotenuse is 18. So which one's my hypotenuse? A, B, good. If that's 18, and the side length opposite of A is 12. So which one's the opposite? Good, CB is 12. What is the measure of angle A? So angle A is my theta. That's my unknown value. So in order to find the value of theta, first of all, we always pick the right ratio and set up our equation. So which ratio should I use? Sine, cosine, or tangent? Good. So sine of theta equals 12 over 18. Now, what do I have to do to both sides? Remember that we're trying to find theta. So how do I find theta? Good. We're trying to get theta out of those parentheses. It's the unknown, it's like locked in there. We need to get it out. So anytime that you're solving for theta, if you're looking for the angle measurement, you have to use the inverse trig function on both sides. Does anyone need a review on how to do that on your calculator? Anybody at all? I do not mind doing it again. Does anyone need me to show you how to do it on your calculator? Okay, be very sure, because if you don't know how to do it, if you do it wrong or you do it incorrectly or you're not really sure how to do it, whatever, now's your chance. Next week, that's it. Next week's the test. That's when it really matters.
I know how to do this. I did it yesterday.
Okay, so go ahead and use your calculator.
Yeah.
Find the value of theta. Let's see what we get. You can send me your answers in the chat, privately, publicly, whatever. Round it. Oh yeah, let's round it to the nearest tenth. Nearest tenth. Oh no, it says it right here. It says it right here. Round it to the nearest degree. Okay, so 42. Good. So when you plug it into your calculator, you should get 41.81. But if we're rounding it to the nearest degree,
41.810314896.
Yep. But since we're rounding it to the nearest degree, the nearest whole number,
41.81.
the nearest whole number, Daniel, the nearest degree.
Oh, 42.
42. That's it.
Toilets.
That's it. Any questions on this one? Anybody getting a different answer? Anybody want me to explain it again? This is your chance, y'all. This is review day. Okay, continuing right along. Okay, a right triangle has legs E and F and hypotenuse H. The value of E is 10, the angle opposite F is 35. Which expression can be used to find the length of a hypotenuse? So again, a lot of words, not a lot of pictures. We draw. Okay, the legs are E and F, so it doesn't matter which one's which, but we know that the legs are anything that's not the hypotenuse, and then the hypotenuse is H. E is 10, so I'll go ahead and 10. 10 right there. The angle opposite leg F is 35 degrees. The angle opposite F is 35 degrees. So which angle should I label with 35? The one at the tippity top or the one on the right corner? Good. The angle opposite of F. So if I go to F and I go across to the opposite side, that's the one that I'm labeling with 35 degrees. Which expression can be used to find the length of the hypotenuse? So let me kind of relabel this a little bit. Cool. Okay, so first things first, this is what I know. If this is what I know, which ratio should I set up that includes h and 10? Cosine, good. Because we look at the number 35, and I've got the adjacent side as well as the hypotenuse. So adjacent over hypotenuse, that's cosine. So here's my equation. Cosine of 35 is equal to 10 over h. So far, any questions on how I set up that equation? Okay, well now I need to solve for h. I need to figure out, okay, because look at the answer choices. We're trying to figure out which of those can be used in order to find the length of the hypotenuse. So what they're saying is, what does h equal? What would go into that blank? So what should I do to both sides? Can't we do times 10? Okay, think about what you would do. Times 10 is multiplication. Multiplication is the opposite of division, right? Are we currently dividing by 10 or are we currently dividing by something else? Okay, Emily's got it actually. Emily's got it because what's happening here is we're doing 10 divided by h. So what we can do is we can multiply by h on both sides. Remember, we kind of did this last week. We're getting h out of the denominator. Because you can't really solve for h if h is in the denominator. You got to get it out of there first and then be able to solve for h. So now I have h times the cosine of 35 equals 10. Well, now to get h by itself, what can I do to both sides? Now we can divide by the cosine of 35. Good. That crosses out. And I'm left with 10 over the cosine of 35. So answer choice C. Or D. So this is the type of question like this where it's a little bit more complicated because when h starts off in the denominator, you got to kind of you got to get it out first and then be able to solve for h. So I want to be very clear about this type of question. So do I have any questions about it? Now I want to show you guys a little trick. If you feel good about this question, then the trick is going to be helpful. If you would prefer to take it step by step, then don't pay attention too much to the trick because it might confuse you even more. But let me see if you feel good about it, you can try this. If I have this proportion, A equals B over C, you can rewrite it. C equals B over A. Think about it. Think about how you can go from one to the other. But this might help you in a lot of different ways because there's a lot of formulas that look like that. Like in science, you might have done the, what's it called? There's a density. Density equals mass over volume. Well, volume is mass over density because you're able to kind of switch the denominator with the thing it's equal to. Same thing goes with like speed is distance over time. Time is distance over speed. And that works with any numbers, any type of formula, any type of numbers, that always will be true. So that might be able to help you in this problem because what you can kind of do from the beginning, if you start off with the cosine of 35 is equal to 10 over h, well, all you really need to do is switch around the h and the cosine of 35. Just swap places and you get your answer right away. So anytime that you're like the variable that you're trying to solve for, if that's in the denominator, you can get it out by switching places, just like I did. Does anyone have any questions on that little trick? Anything? Any questions? Going once? Going twice? Okay. All right. Quick one. This should be pretty easy. Here's a poll. All right. Which expression is equivalent to the cosine of 61? No calculators, no math. Think about your definitions. Okay, 10, 9. Y'all, only 3 people have answered. That's pretty dismal. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. I need 3 more answers. 5. Every single person put a vote out there. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, for the next poll, I'm gonna make it no longer anonymous. So I'm gonna know exactly who answered and who did not. And those of you who don't feel like answering, that's a phone call home tonight. Don't be that
I was
person.
just about to press the submit
I got to
button.
1. I got to 1 and you didn't press. Okay. 3 people chose answer choice B. 3 people did not. That is a problem. This is an easy A question, y'all. If you're getting this question wrong, then you need to go back to the bell ringer and do it again. Why is B correct? How do you know? What are 61 and 29? What's the relationship between these two numbers? Good, complementary angles. So I'm gonna say this one more time. And if this type of question trips you up again, then that just means you were not writing your notes and you were not paying attention, because I'm gonna just say it one more time. This is an easy question. This is very easy. It just goes down to the definition of complementary angles. So one more time, complementary angles. Now, if you got this right, you do not need to write it down. Complementary angles. Add up to 90 degrees. If you have angle A is complementary to angle B, If that's true, then you have two properties that are true. The sine of A is equal to the cosine of B, and the cosine of A is equal to the sine of B. There is no tangent in there anywhere. So if you chose C, again, you're not listening to Miss Lopez. Complementary angles. The sine of one of them is equal to the cosine of the other, and it works both ways. No tangents. No, no, no. None of that. That's the rules. This is the last time that you're able to get this wrong without Miss Lopez being actually pretty angry about it. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But from here on out, if you get a question like this incorrect, then that just tells me you're not listening at all or taking notes. So don't do it again. Any questions on this? Going once? Going twice? Okay, moving on. This was the same one we did in the bell ringer, so we do not need to do it again. But at the end of the day, what do you always do with this type of question? Just as a reminder. Make them equal to 90. So 2x plus 5 plus 5x plus 20 equals 90. But we just did this one, so we're not going to do it again. Okay, I think we did this one on Friday, but again, it's worth doing it again. At this point, though, I want to do it as a poll. Now I can see who's answered it and who has not. So please make sure you answer. I need an answer from everybody. If you're not answering, then I won't know how, like, what I need to help you with. So this is beneficial for you.
I can't even read the whole question. The poll is blocking.
Can you move it?
Well, yes, but then I can't see the poll.
Just read the question, work it out, and then answer the poll afterwards. Okay, at this point, I have 2 answers in. Still waiting on a few people. And if you don't know how to do the question, what should you do? What do you guys think? If you don't know how to do the question, what should I see from you? Okay, I should be seeing questions in the chat. So if you're one of the 4 people who hasn't answered yet, and you're just staring at your screen, you better do something about that and let me know.
I know, sir.
Okay. Okay, I'm waiting on 3 more responses. Okay. Thank you to those who have asked me questions. I will address those questions in just a moment. But for now, for those who did answer the poll, I'm going to go ahead and end it. And everybody chose C. Everybody got it right. So now let's go through it together. Now, for those of you who did not answer it, I know who you are. And I know who of you asked me questions. So those who were asking questions, you did the right thing. If you didn't say a word and you just left it blank, then I'm going to have to be making parent phone calls later today, letting your parents know that you are not participating in class and that you're not caring about your own education and that you're not interested in improving your scores in math. Because that's the reality of it. If you're just staring at your screen, that tells me that you don't care. And it really sucks as a teacher for somebody who does care about teaching and about making sure that my students are doing their best. It really does kind of suck when the students don't give me the same level of caring in return. So here we go. I'm trying to find the height of the building. So there's the H. I'm going to put that as my variable. I have a 50-degree angle. Which ratio is going to include both the 30 at the bottom and the H? Okay, so it might be cosine, might be tangent. Let's think about it again. What would be the cosine of 50? Cosine would be 30. So adjacent over what? Over hypotenuse. Let's call the hypotenuse x. So the cosine would be 30 over x. But x is not what I'm interested in, right? I don't care about x. It's not asking me about x. It's asking me about h. So it's not cosine that I'm going to use. It's tangent. The tangent of 50. Because tangent, what does tangent stand for? Opposite over adjacent. So that's where, okay, I got my h and I've got my 30. So it's h over 30. So it's tangent, not cosine. So that's the first step. Well, now I need to solve for h. What do I do to both sides? Good, times 30. So I know that h is going to be 30 times the tangent of 50. Can I do that in my head or I need something else? Yeah, you need your calculator for this. You can't just do that in your head. So I'm going to show you how to do it on the calculator. We're looking for the tangent of 50. Tangent of 50, and then I got to multiply that. So tangent, do I need to put the second button? Or do I just do the regular tangent? Okay, regular. I'm not taking the inverse. It's normal tangent. So I write my 50 first, Then I hit the tangent button. Is that my final answer? No, what do I have to do now? Times 30. That's my answer, 35.7. And then it rounds up, so the final answer is 36. Or 36 meters, my bad. Okay, for those students who didn't answer the poll, for those students who didn't ask me any questions, do I have any remaining questions? I'm giving you the opportunity now, so don't go back and say, oh, Miss Lopez, I don't know. Because if you didn't know and you didn't ask, you didn't do everything in your ability to make sure you figured it out. Going once. Going twice. Okay, next one. Kind of a similar one. So here we go. So a sonar operator on a ship detects a submarine that is located 800 meters away from the ship at an angle of depression. So we'll talk about angle of depression and angle of elevation in just a moment. But it's an angle of depression of 38 degrees. Select the expression that allows you to calculate how deep the submarine is. So if I'm trying to calculate how deep the submarine is, am I looking for A or am I looking for B? Good. We're looking for B. So that's the first clue, but from here on out, I want you to try it on your own. This is a very similar problem. You're just not going to plug it into your calculator at the end. So you're just trying to see which of these equations is what you would plug into your calculator. Okay, I'm going to give everybody about 30 more seconds. Still waiting on those 3 people. Okay, 2 people. Okay, 7 out of 8 have responded. 10 more seconds for that one person. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Results show that 3 people chose A but 4 people did not. And I say that because A is the correct answer. So if you did not choose A, that was incorrect. Let's go ahead and work on it together. So in this case, like we said, we're looking for B. We're looking for B. So what ratio should I use if I'm looking at this 38-degree angle and I need B and then I need 800? Good, Tyrone. We're looking for sine of 38. Because I don't care about A. I don't care about A, so I'm not going to use cosine and I'm not going to use tangent because both cosine and tangent have A in them. So, and we don't care about A. We don't want A in the equation. We just want 38, the B, and the 800. So sine of 38 is going to be B over 800. Okay, opposite over hypotenuse. But now I'm trying to figure out which of these is going to show me the answer for B. So in other words, it's saying solve for B. So what do I do to both sides? Good. Times 800 on both sides. Cancels out my 800. I'm left with B equals 800 times the sine of 38 degrees. Answer choice A. Questions on this one? I got only, more than half the class got it completely wrong. So that tells me that there are questions. So what are those questions? How is it not D? So it's not D because, read the ending of this question. It's saying select the expression that allows you to calculate how deep the submarine is. So what it's basically saying is, what are you going to plug into your calculator when you're trying to figure out the answer? What are you going to plug in? Well, in order to figure out what you're going to plug in, you have to solve that equation for B. You have to get B all by itself. And in order to get B all by itself, we had to multiply by 8 on both sides, not divide by 8. We had to multiply by 8. So that's how we got 800 times the sine of 38, not divided by. Any other questions? Would they use this in real life? Yeah, actually. Trigonometry, I would say trigonometry is more useful in real life than algebra on its own. So these are actually like how, kind of on a more basic level, but like this is actually how things are located underwater a lot of times, is using all these angles. Same with like satellites, like you know how you have your phone, hold on your phone, how does your phone get service? Well, it connects to a satellite that's up in the sky, up above the earth, right? And there's like a certain angle that like the angle to which it connects to the satellite. Well, that's how the satellite knows where you're located. You know how you have GPS on your phone? You have a map on your phone? It's able to figure out where you are based on the angles and a couple of other things, but the angle is a part of it. So yeah. Yeah. And actually, Tyrone, usually if a satellite gets damaged, then the phone service is able to connect you with a different satellite. Like it's not just one satellite up in the sky, because otherwise, if that one went bad, then everything would go bad. So there's always backups. Okay, quickly, I want to go over something that we kind of looked at in these two problems, but I haven't really explained what it is. So that's angle of elevation and then angle of depression. So they kind of are exactly what they sound like. Elevation, what direction do you think that's going to go, up or down? Yeah, elevation is an upwards angle and depression is a downwards angle. But let me kind of show you exactly what it means. So an elevation angle is measured from the ground up. Oops, measured from the ground up. So that's basically what it sounds like. You start on the ground, like let's say, here, I'll draw a nice picture. I've got the grass, kind of like that question where we were measuring the angle of the building. Let's say I've got a building or a brick wall. And I have a ladder propped up against the building. It's a very tall ladder. There's my ladder. Okay, the angle of elevation is how far from the ground that ladder is propped up. So the angle of elevation is this theta right here. That's the angle of elevation. So again, it kind of sounds like what it is. It's measured from the ground up. Now, angle of depression is a little bit different. Angle of depression is measured from a parallel down. So what does that mean? It's a little bit different. Because if you're not on the ground, it's a little harder to measure an angle because you don't have a flat surface to measure it from. So now let's say that you're on a building. You're at the top of the building. You're looking down. So you're up here. And you're looking down because you see, I don't know, you see a cool looking bird. I don't know, or a dog. You see a dog. Okay, there's my dog. It's really ugly. Okay, there's my dog. I'm looking down at the dog. So actually, let me draw this from my eyes. I'm looking down at the dog. The dog is on the ground. Okay, this is where it gets a little confusing because you might think that the angle of depression is this angle. That's what you might think, but it's not that angle. The angle of depression, read the definition. It's measured from a parallel. So what happens is you've got the ground. The ground is your flat surface. Here's my grass, that's flat. What you're gonna have is a parallel line up here that's parallel to the ground. And the angle of depression is measured from the parallel downwards. So this right here is the angle of depression. It's how far down you're looking from the parallel line down. So this is the one that's a little more confusing. A lot of people just forget which one is the angle of depression. That's the angle of depression. Okay, so do I have any questions on angle of elevation versus angle of depression? Okay, cool, no questions. So just kind of like this one, that was an angle of depression because it was measured from the parallel of where the submarine is. So that's the submarine, and we had parallel lines. Whereas this one was angle of elevation, because like we talked about, it's from the ground up. Okay, so now try this one. The diagram below shows a ramp connecting the ground of a loading platform 4.5 feet above the ground. The ramp measures 11.75 feet from the ground to the top of the loading platform. Determine and state to the nearest degree the angle of elevation formed by the ramp and the ground. So which one is my angle of elevation? Yeah, let me label. That makes more sense. Okay, if this is A, this is B, and this is C, which one is the angle of elevation? Good, angle B. Okay, the other ones are just, that's not what that is. So angle of elevation is B. Let me label it. I'll call that one theta. And now go ahead and work on this problem on your own. You can send me your answer privately in the chat. So determine the value of theta to the nearest degree. Okay, good. I'm seeing a couple of people got the same answer. That's good, but give yourself a couple more minutes to try it out on your own and see if you get the same answer. Okay, I'll give everybody about 30 more seconds. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and do this one together. If I'm looking for theta and I've got the following information, I know this measurement and I know that measurement, which of the three ratios should I be using? Sine, cosine, or tangent? Good, Janelle's. We're looking for sine. We're using sine of theta. Sine of theta is opposite over hypotenuse. So that's 4.5 over 11.75. Well, I'm looking for theta. Theta is trapped in the parentheses. What do I do to get it out? Good, Tyrone. We're using the inverse sine of both sides. Crosses that cancels out my sine. I'm left with theta, but now I got to use my calculator and plug it in. The inverse sine of 4.5 over 11.75. And I'm going to show you one more time how to do that in your calculator. 4.5 over 11.75. I do that first. 4.5 divided by 11.75. I get this crazy long fraction. I'm going to leave that crazy long decimal in my calculator. I'm not going to delete it because now I got to do is go to the inverse sign. So second button, press sign. I get 22.518. So theta is 22.518, which rounds up to 23. Oh, okay, Tyrone, as long as you know how to function your own calculator, that's all that matters. Because, you know, different calculators are different. So as long as you know how to work yours and you know how to do it and you're getting the same answers as me, then you're good. Any questions on this problem, on how I got my answer? Okay. Moving right along on your own. Try this one out. Same thing. I'm going to put a poll up. And we're just going to keep doing that same strategy. I want to see an answer from all of you. Okay, I have 2 answers in so far, but I do want to see you guys starting to work this out a little bit more quickly. So take about 1 more minute, about 1 more minute. Okay, I still have four people who have not answered. So again, I'm gonna say this again and again, but if you're not answering and you're not asking questions, then you're doing this wrong. So if you have a question, ask it now. If you haven't answered, let me know why you have not answered. Otherwise, you have 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Here's my results. 3 people got it right, 3 people got it wrong. Why do we keep getting this wrong, y'all? What's going on? We've done about 5 of the same type of problem. I can go back and show you. So if you're still getting this wrong, I'm concerned. Okay, so Tyrone, thank you for being honest. Mixing up your ratios, that's one thing, and that's something that we can continue working on. But past that point, if we're still making mistakes and you're not learning from your mistakes, then that's a different issue. Then that's a very, very different issue. So we got to make sure that we're learning from your mistakes. Okay, so as shown in the diagram below, an angle of elevation from a point on the ground to the top of the tree is 34 degrees. So here's the point on the ground. And the point is 20 feet from the base of the tree. So where am I putting 20? Where am I putting a 20?
At the bottom.
At the base, at the bottom. There's my 20. Okay, I'm looking for the height of the tree. There's my x. What ratio am I going to use? Tangent, good. Tangent. Opposite over adjacent. Tangent of 34 is x over 20. Do I have any questions on that part? Did anybody use sine or cosine or use the different or something wrong or put it in a different order? Okay. Okay, Tyrone used sine instead. What's wrong with sine? Okay, she showed you why it's wrong, but this goes for anybody. Sine of 34, what would that be? Let's call this one y. That would be x over y. But can you solve an equation if it has 2 variables in it? You can't. You can only solve an equation if it has 1 variable. So that's not going to help you in any way. We don't care about the hypotenuse, so I'm not going to put it in my equation because I'm not concerned about it. Multiply by 20 on both sides. I get x equals 20 times the tangent of 34. Any questions on how to calculate that in your calculator? Okay, so we end up with 13 point, I believe it's 490. So when you round it up, we get 13.5. Answer choice C. Questions on this one? Going once. Going twice. Okay. I think this is the last one we'll have time for. So again, on your own, answer it in the poll. Go ahead and start. Okay, time's about to run out, unfortunately. However, I'm going to end the poll here. I'm not going to share the responses because I just want to make sure I go over it in time. Notice, since we know the angle of depression uses parallel lines, if that angle is 20 degrees, which other angle is also 20 degrees? If this is 20, what else is 20? Anyone? Yeah. This is also 20. Okay, so for that reason, it ends up being answer choice D, because we need to do the tangent of 20 is 45 over D. So then when you actually solve for D, you get D equals 45 divided by the tangent of 20. Also, D is the only one that makes sense. That distance, the way we see the diagram, it would make 0 sense if it was 15 meters away. That's much longer than 45. So D was the only one that actually even makes any sense. Now,
How
here's
many
the thing.
people got that right? How many people got that right?
2 people got it right.
Oh, so I was one of them.
Good. All right. Now, tomorrow, y'all, here's what's going to happen very quickly. Tomorrow, I have a group of people who I'm going to pull out and who's going to work on things independently. And I have a group of people who I'm going to pull into a small group to work on things with me. Because I have far too many students right now who are not participating. They don't care. They don't respond. They're not participating actively in this class. And I'm going to have to make some phone calls home tonight. And those students are going to be with me and me alone tomorrow while everybody else works on independent stuff. Okay, so that's what's going to happen tomorrow. I will see everybody then. Goodbye.
Bye, miss.
Bye.